Hey, welcome back to Get Done Business, the show all about small business shops and entrepreneurship. Joining us today is a leadership expert who has spent 16 years decoding why even the most accomplished executives get stuck and exactly how they break through. I'm joined by Anna Barnhill, who is a professional fellow at McLean Hospital, Harvard Medical School, and teaches leadership and innovation at MIT Professional Education. She is an ICF Master Certified Coach, a distinction held by fewer than 1% of coaches worldwide. And she has a new book. It's called Leader Wired, the AI Era Leadership Playbook for Transforming How You Think, Decide, and Lead. And it provides a tactical roadmap for the premium human skills that technology simply cannot replace. From her early years in the Soviet Ukraine to the boardrooms of the Fortune 500, Anna brings a rare, real-world perspective on leadership transformation. Anna, it is such a pleasure to have you on the show.
Thank you so much, Shalom. Very excited to have this conversation. The topic of AI, the topic of leadership is a hot topic, the passion of mine. So I'm ready to dive into it.
Oh, yeah, I'm excited. And you've spent thousands, literally thousands of hours coaching Fortune 500 executives. Why? Why is it that 70% of transformation efforts fail? And why do you argue that the real reason isn't actually resistance?
Yeah, so that's such an interesting subject because what we know from McKinsey research, what they're saying is, well, transformation in general, we kind of fail at it as human beings because 70% of the time, any transformation initiatives fail. And oftentimes when I talk to leaders, when I talk to Fortune 500 companies, they say, well, maybe we got the strategy wrong. Well, what about the processes? What about the tools? We need to send our leaders to university to attend another webinar. And I'm like, stop the madness. And here's what's actually happening. The leaders who are driving those transformation initiatives, here's what I found. They actually operating on outdated sets of assumptions, of beliefs, of what it actually takes to be an effective leader and get your employees buy-in. So that just was mind-blowing to me, and that's how Leader Wired was actually born.
Amazing. You have a powerful line in your book that I saw, and I've been thinking about it all week as I've been excited for this conversation. The line is, this isn't a willpower problem, it's an operating system problem. How can a leader tell when their internal operating system is outdated for the 2026 business landscape?
That's a great question. So, well, first, I think something that is important to explain is what is actually the operating system, right? Because if you're an engineer, you like, I got it. When we use our phone, we also understand our phones have an operating system. And if we upload some fancy apps on our phone without updating our phone's operating system, right? What will happen, it will start lagging. At some point, it will just crash. It won't run the way it's supposed to. So here's the thing. Leaders, we all have our own operating system, and it consists of our beliefs, of our mindsets, of our emotional processing, of our thought patterns, of our behavioral defaults, of our value system, of our communication protocols. So it's very complex. And the most tricky part, it's invisible because it's operating inside of us and we see the world through that lens. We operate through that lens. We make decisions as leaders through that lens. So it makes it extremely tricky to identify unless you make a conscious choice to take a pause because as leaders, we're always very busy.
In 2013, you speak very openly that it was a year of multiple surgeries and diagnoses for you, and you've called it your unluckiest and luckiest year. I like to get to know the person behind the microphone. What was that moment during that crisis that changed how you view leadership forever?
Yeah. So for me, that was something that forced me to actually take a pause. Because just like any leader, I was on the go, high ambition, all about achieving more, about producing more, about becoming more. So there was always a push, always do more, become better, go faster, do more, be more. And that year, I literally had to slow down because I couldn't walk. So here I am staring at the ceiling and thinking, am I actually successful? Because by society standards, I am. but something doesn't feel aligned. So that was something that cracked the code for me. And I realized, oh my gosh, the way I was operating, it was actually not aligned with my values and who I want to be. So basically, I was performing success instead of truly internally feeling connected, aligned, and successful as a leader.
That's powerful. And I appreciate you sort of peeling back the curtain for us and being just so open. We're going to have to cut to a break in about a minute. But before we do that, I know you identify 5 premium human skills that AI can't replace. In an age where everyone's worried about automation, which of these 5 is the most critical for a founder to master right now?
You know what? When you say skill sets, I would actually like to peel the onion a little bit more and go
Sure.
even deeper. Because when we look at AI, we oftentimes say, oh my gosh, either AI will replace humans or we have to compete with AI. I actually like to look at it not as skills, but as qualities. As human beings, we have unique qualities. We can laugh, we can care, we have something at stake. We have our wisdom and lived experiences. AI does not have that. So that's where we need to double click and double down because there is something unique that AI can't replace.
Mm, that's powerful. Anna, I know you grew up in Soviet Ukraine, and you've said that the environment installed an operating system, as we talked about before, that both propelled and limited your career. What was the bug in that system that you had to fix in order to thrive in the American market?
Yeah, so here's an interesting part about it, Shalom. Initially, the operating system that was built for constraint, that was built for perfection, that was built for ambition, that was actually what made me successful when I moved to US. But the problem was you can only perform leadership for so long until your body burns out and sends you a message. So for me, what I learned the hard way, and now what I teach leaders, you do not need to wait for a crisis, whether it's a career crisis or your health crisis, in order to upgrade how you think, how you decide, how you lead yourself, how you lead your people. And for me, the main shift was understanding is leadership is personal. It is not positional. So you don't have to have a title to be a leader. And also, if you have a title, it doesn't make you a leader. What makes you a leader is, do people want to follow you? Do you
Mm.
have a vision bigger than yourself that you can clearly, in emotionally compelling ways, share with your people that excites them, that truly inspires them to tap into their own full potential and be their best? So that was my personal learning. It was a complete shift in what I believe true leadership is.
I love it. Let's talk a little bit about values. How do values like innovation and integrity actually drive behavior when things get difficult? Is it true that these values only truly matter when they're under fire?
That's an interesting one too, because what I see oftentimes in companies, there's pretty nouns on the walls, which we call values. And most recently, the values are innovation, creativity. And when you actually observe the culture within the company, it is not true at all, because oftentimes the cultures are full of bureaucracy, full of layers, full of outdated systems that still propone the belief that all the decisions have to be made at the top. I'm the smartest person in the room. A lot of leaders struggle with controlling all the inputs and outputs, so they micromanage. They also rely on their expertise and their knowledge, and that becomes of their identity. So even if they say we value innovation and creativity, when people try to bring them different ideas that do not align with the beliefs that they already have, well, guess what? They roll their eyes. They literally reject the idea with their body language. And then they say why innovative initiatives fail, because the leaders are not ready on the biological, neurological level to lead and align themselves with what the AI era demands, which is experimentation, innovation. And it's just very interesting how it's universal. It was true back in Soviet Ukraine. Well, guess what? It's still true here in the US right now.
Absolutely. Anna Barnhill, I want to give the final word over to you. You've got a fascinating new book and so much more to share with our listeners. How can we find the book? How can we get in touch?
Absolutely. So my book, Leader Wired, and all my work around the leadership at the intersection of human potential and AI, you can find at my website, leaderwired.com. You can also connect with me on LinkedIn and join my free newsletter. Every Tuesday, every week, in your inbox, you'll receive wisdom nuggets around how you can collaborate with AI better, how you can truly amplify your thinking, your decision-making to become an AI-enabled executive. Because we can't deny AI is the present, is the future. So either we embrace it and learn how to amplify ourselves, or we become obsolete.
Well, that's a wrap for us this week. Let's get down to business. We'll see you next week. Awesome, Anna. Thank you. I'm glad we were able to